Hi loves, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial you're going to be learning how to make this beautiful cropped underbust corset. It's actually very simple, and if this is what you love to learn, please stay tuned until the end of this tutorial. So I made use of 1 yard of Ankara fabric and 1.5 yards of doll face bridal satin for this. So we are going to have to start drafting out the pattern. Okay, I've already marked out the starting line, and the starting line would be serving as the shoulder line. So from this shoulder line, go ahead and insert your shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, and then shoulder to the half length. So I'm going to be making use of the full length of this paper, okay, and the other remaining allowance would be serving as my joining allowance, that is my folding allowance. Now from there, from the shoulder line, divide your shoulder into two, and my shoulder is 15 inches. 15 divided by 2 plus half inch, same allowance. So connect this line towards the chest line. Okay, now from there you're going to have to insert your neck width, and my neck width I made use of 4 inches. Okay, so from the shoulder line, come down by 1 inch, and that will serve as the shoulder slope. Now from the shoulder slope, input your chest line. So to find your chest line, you're going to be making use of your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Okay, so now we are done with that. You're going to have to label all your lines. So I have the chest line, bust points, under bust, and half length. Okay, so once you are done with that, you're going to have to divide the line in between your shoulder slope and your chest line by 2. Divide it by 2 and mark out half of it, and then from there divide all your body circumference by 4 and input what you have there, as you can see me doing like this. Okay, and then once you are done with this, go ahead and input half an inch on the chest line. Okay, you already know what that means. This is trying to create ease around the armhole area. Okay, so we do that by inserting half an inch after we must have divided our bust circumference by 4 only at the chest line. Okay, so once you are done with that, go back to the half an inch that you extended towards the inside, and then create your armhole curve. Okay, so this is what you can see me doing on the screen, and then connect your shoulder slope back to your neck line. Okay, so we are going to have to create our darts, and to create our darts you're going to be making use of your nipple to nipple measurement. Okay, so I'm going to be making use of a basic dart for this top. Okay, so connect all your nipple to nipple measurements starting from your bust point all the way to the half length. Okay, you're going to make use of waistline for the dart. Okay, don't extend your dart towards the allowance, and then remove half an inch from both sides of the waist, and then connect back to the bust point. So once you are done with this, you're going to have to replace whatever you took out for the dart, and here I took out 1 inch, so replace it back and then input your seam allowance. So for my stitching allowance, I'm going to be making use of 2 inches for my stitching allowance. Now I'm going to input that 2 inches. So with that being done, we are going to have to go back to our shoulder and insert our shoulder stitching allowance, and there you will make use of 1/2 inch. So connect this line, and yes, you guys, we are done with the front pattern. So we are going to have to cut this out and then make use of this front pattern to cut out our back pattern before we go over to modify the front pattern into our corset cup. Now this is the front. I'm going to have to introduce a fresh pattern paper for the fronts, and the only difference between the front and the back would be the zipper allowance. Okay, so if you don't want to make use of a zipper, you can go ahead and also make use of a loop. In that case, you're not going to be creating this zipper allowance. Rather, you would even reduce your back by 2 inches extra. The only line I'm going to be having at the back is just the zipper allowance, which you can see me trying to label, and then I'm going to connect my chest line. Okay, so now at the down part of my back pattern, I'm going to have to insert again my nipple to nipple measurement, and from the chest line come down by 1 inch and then connect this back to your half length. Okay, now at the waistline, come in and out by 1/2 inch and then connect it back to the chest line. Okay, so that would be the dart for my back. So once you're done with this, we're going to go ahead and bring in our front pattern again, and then make sure that your neck for the front and back are the same. Okay, so now that we are done with the back, we are going to have to set that aside and then bring in our front pattern and work on it. Okay, now to the front pattern, from the upper chest line, you're going to have to come up by 1 inch. Okay, now we are working on our cup right now, and then from the fold go in by 1/2 inch. Okay, now extend this 1/2 inch towards the under bust. Okay, and then using your straight ruler, connect these lines together. Now this line that I marked out right now is the distance between my two breasts. Okay, that's 1 inch that you always see in between your two breasts. That is what we just created. So from the bust point, you're going to have to connect using a curve ruler down to the under bust, and then at the sides you're going to have to connect straight to the bust point. But this would be a guide for me to connect to my side seam, because the inspiration I'm using for this top was actually connected to the side seam. So this is what I have. This is for me to be able to make a guide, not to exceed my under bust points. Okay, so you can see that I've ruled out the first line that I created right there. Okay, so now we are being able to achieve our cup. This is what we have. I'm going to go ahead and determine my neck depth. Okay, and I don't want my cleavage to show on this dress. If you want yours to show, you can actually come down to the bust point. Okay, so I made use of the same length that I used for the cup cleavage. Okay, so that was actually what I used. Now once you're done with that, set that aside and then work on your back neck depth. Okay, so for my back neck depth, I made this deeper than the front, and again the same width for the neck. So I went ahead to cut this out and then notched my zipper allowance. Now once you're done with that, you're going to have to reduce our zipper for from the waist. Okay, this to be able to eliminate any form of bulging at the back. Okay, now once you are done with that, go ahead and keep your back pattern aside, and we are going to have to cut out our front pattern. Now pay very good attention on how I am going to cut this out. Okay, so right here that I'm cutting out, you can see how I am trying to cut this out. Just pay a very good attention to this part. Now that we are done cutting this out, this is what we have, and you are going to have to extend your dart leg towards the hem, that is the allowance. Okay, and then you cut out your dart. Okay, so I'm trying to cut this dart because I don't want any form of dart at the down part. Okay, so I'm going to place this together and use my tape and then hold them together, and that is how I'm going to be cutting that on my fabric. Okay, so once I join this together, I'm going to keep this aside, and then we are going to be working on our corset cup. Okay, so go ahead and cut out the that as well on this parts, and then to this cup we are going to have to divide our shoulder by 2 and then connect it back to that. Okay, because you're going to have to splash and spread this corset cup. Okay, so what I am trying to do is to divide this into 4, and once I am done dividing it, I'm going to go ahead and then splash and spread this. Okay, to be able to get like a gathered effect on this. Okay, that would create a room for this to be able to gather up more and become fuller at that underbust point. All right, so we are going to have to splash this. Okay, you can see the way I'm cutting this out. I didn't cut off totally, so you're going to have to splash and then stop at that shoulder point. Okay, without cutting it out fully. So you are going to have to leave like points something inches, I don't know, but you can actually see what I did right there. Okay, so this is it, you guys. So by the time you place this together, this is what you are going to have. Now that we are done with the cutting process, we are going to have to start cutting on our fabric, and what I have here is 1 yard of Ankara fabric and then 1.5 yards of satin, that is doll face satin. So I'm going to have to start by cutting out my back piece. Okay, and when you want to cut this out, please endeavor to place on fold, because you are going to have to cut out 2 pieces for the back and then just one piece for the front. So once you are done cutting this out, go ahead and slit your zipper allowance and then notch your zipper. So while cutting this, you can see that I left space, I left like half an inch around the neckline. That would be for my turning allowance at that point. Okay, and then we moved over to the front parts. Okay, so at the front parts, I left half inch all around while cutting this, as you can see me doing like this. So leave half an inch aside the hem and then the side seam. Okay, so this is what I have, but around the cups I made sure that I left half an inch. And once you are done with that, you're going to have to cut for your lining as well, and this is what we have. So while cutting the cup, you can see that I cut the some part of the cup unfold. Okay, if you look carefully well, you're going to see that. So the next step we are going to be taking is to go ahead and join right side facing each other using our lining. Join your neckline, and then you're going to be making use of 0.25 inches to join the side seam. Okay, now once you are done with that, you're going to have to turn the neck of this your cup. Okay, turn the neck line and then you top stitch, and this is what we actually have. Okay, and then at the down part of the cup, you're going to have to use a loose stitch to create a gathered effect. And once you're done doing that, you're going to hold one of the rope and then pull to gather this up. Okay, and once you're done, this is what you're going to have, and we are going to have to start stitching. So to stitch up, you're going to have to stitch right side facing each other, and once you are done stitching, this is what you are actually going to have. Now we are going to have to introduce our lining. Okay, so to turn this with our lining, make sure to use your pin. Okay, and first of foremost, use your pin to hold them together all around, as you can see me doing like this, and then you stitch. And while stitching, you're going to have to insert the cup inward and then stitch. And once you're done stitching, go ahead and place your notches, and then you turn this over. Okay, flip this over to the right side, and then so I'm trying to notch all my seam allowance to be able to lay flat. And once we are done with this is what we have. Okay, you can see how clean and beautiful this is looking inside. Okay, so this is the inside, and this is the front view. Okay, so now what we are going to do next is to stitch up our dart for the back. And once you are done stitching the back dart, this is what you are going to have. Okay, now the next step is for us to join our top together, that is the front and the back. And to do that, we are going to have to stitch our zipper allowance together. Okay, now place your back on top of the table, and then placing the front part on top as well. Mark out your zipper allowance, as you can see me doing like this. And once you are done marking out the zipper allowance, you're going to have to place your tape right on the shoulder and then mark out your bust points, your under bust points, and then the waist line. Okay, and then once you are done marking this out, you're going to have to start dividing your round body measurement by 4 inches, and then you start shaping out your top. Okay, so once you are done shaping out your top, try and also make that mark visible on the other part, okay, so that you'll be able to join this easily together. All right, so once we are done with that, this is what we have, and we are going to go right there to our machine and join this together. Once you go over to your machine, join your shoulder first using 1/2 inch, and then join your side seam following the lines that you created. Go ahead and join all these together, and this is what you should have. Okay, now for this top to sit well on you, you're going to have to reduce whatever your shoulder measurement is by 1 inch. So if you have your shoulder to be 14 inches, reduce it to 13 inches so that this the armhole will be able to sit well. Okay, now this is the sleeve. I'm going to be making my sleeve a bishop sleeve, and it's going to be coming with a band. Okay, so now mark out a straight line and then create your armhole curve. Okay, and then once you are done with that, measure out the length of your sleeve and then cut this out. Okay, so I actually cut this on bias because this is a bishop sleeve, and after I cut it out, this is what I have, and I actually cut both sleeves together. Okay, so coming over to the band, I went ahead to place this on fold, and the length of this cuff, that is the band, is 5 inches on fold. That is opening up, I will have 10 inches. Okay, so you can actually determine what you want for your cuff. Okay, so you guys, after we were done stitching this together, this is what we actually achieve on this dress. This dress is very elegant and beautiful. This is the bishop sleeve, and I also went ahead to attach the zipper. Okay, you can see how beautiful it is looking. So you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please kindly give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram page at Eco Designs to Fit. I will see you in my next one. Bye.